Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Terrace Talk. Championship football is back after the international break, and for Norwich City, it's a trip to face Coventry in their latest away game. Three wins on the bounce away from home, but maybe their trickiest test to date so far against the Sky Blues, who I think, well, Claudio will tell me more about it when we get onto it in a second. But I think it's fair to say they've had quite a good start to the season. So we've got Claudio from SkyBlueFansTV. Thanks very much for joining us. And if we just start sort of with generally your reflections on the season so far for Coventry, because from afar it feels like it's been quite a good one.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on, Samuel. Yes, well, it didn't start in the way we wanted to when we played Hull at home. We just thought, oh no, that wasn't quite the start we expected. A drab 0-0 draw, although we did hit the post, so we could have snuck it 1-0. And then we went to Derby and all hell broke loose in that game. We just
Yeah.
looked like we could score every time we went forward. So we're a funny team. It's not been too bad a start, and it's loads better than it's been in previous seasons. So I'm not going to complain in that respect. But you always want a little bit more, don't you? So I think Saturday before against Oxford was just a little reminder of how you can screw things up. Basically, how you can be comfortably in a really good position, and then somehow you take the shot. You don't tighten up, and you end up drawing a game that you probably should have won. So it's been it's a solid 8 out of 10, really. It's the best start we've had in years.
Yeah. What are sort of the expectations, and what were the expectations going into it? Obviously, it was playoff semi-final defeat last season. So, is it sort of playoffs again that most Coventry fans are hoping for?
Yes, if I'm honest, I think some people expect more.
Yeah.
This time last year, we're thinking about playoffs. When it got to just before Mark Robins got sacked, I think most of us had almost given up and thought we're not going to make it. Not the way
Yeah.
we're playing. We're not even picking up points where we should be picking up points. Frank came in, changed it all really. The main change was the home form. We went from a bottom six home stats to I think the third best in the league in the end.
Yeah.
Astonishing. It's our best home performance since 1987. So that's how good it was. A real turnaround. That made a difference. And I think this season we're hoping for the same at home, but we need a little bit more away from home because away from home we're not very good at all.
Yeah.
We're not picking up enough points. So a lot of people, I would say 75% of the fan base have got us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There might be about 5% think we'll get automatics. I doubt it. And there's some who think halfway. I'd imagine similar to yourselves, I'd have thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of for Norwich, probably most people would expect or would at least hope for playoffs. Probably when you look at where they finished last season, obviously the context there is a little bit different with Coventry. Yeah, getting into that top six and finishing the season really strongly, whereas Norwich kind of did the opposite. Because I think if you looked at the two sides, maybe in sort of January, February, you could have said it was kind of they would have been neck and neck at the time.
Yeah.
Sort of in the playoff race. So obviously the seasons went in different directions, but I suppose that's why maybe they've done things in different ways going into the season. And I was going to ask you about transfer business, because obviously Norwich have gone one way, which is they've signed 12 senior players this summer and really gone for it looks basically like a completely different squad, certainly from the last time they were in the playoffs, but also from last season. Whereas Coventry, I think, have only made 4 senior signings. So were you surprised by that at all, or did that actually make sense after the sort of relative success of last season?
You had to make signings though, didn't you? Because you ran out of players basically.
Yeah,
You lost a
yeah. I
few
think they
players.
lost a few senior players on
Yeah.
freeze. Yeah,
So we're in a position where we did that 2 seasons ago. We signed about 10 players because we had, I think, 4 or 5 loanees. So we had no squad, so we had to get players
yeah,
in. And really, our owner is not really splashing the cash. We just bought the stadium, which is incredible.
yeah,
That's the biggest signing of this transfer window, as far as the whole fan base would say. But you kind of think, well, you got to put that to bed now, and let's look at the
yeah,
team. And I don't. He's not going to spend money unless you've got it to spend. I think this is the issue, and I think this is possibly similar to you guys because you was it 38 million you got in from sales and then
Yeah.
you've pretty much spent that money. You've run out of your parachute payments now, I'd imagine. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 So
For a
you're
couple of years
kind
now.
of you're kind of like the rest of us now, aren't you? Basically.
Yeah.
So you've got to live within your means, haven't you? And I think we're doing that. And somehow we keep getting in the playoffs and close to it. I
Yeah.
mean, even the season when we got to the semi-final of the FA Cup, we blew it in the last 4 or 5 games. I think that
Yeah.
defeat against Man United, we totally switched off.
Yeah.
We needed, I think, 3 wins out of the last 7 or something, and we'd have got a comfortable place. We lost to QPR at home. I think we lost to Hull at home. We lost to
Yeah.
Ipswich at home, but they're
Yeah.
obviously going for promotion. We lost 3. I think the last 3 or 4 games at home we lost on the bounce, which is just terrible, really.
Yeah.
So, we. I don't think we had to buy many. The problem is we lost Ben Sheaf, and we've got good money for him, 6.5 million for.
Yeah.
He's got a year left in his contract, but that's left us a bit light, which our owner has admitted to. Now, whether or
Yeah.
not that's because we couldn't get somebody in, I don't know, or they expected more money for somebody else, and we didn't sell them. But we've not sold Hadji Wright. We've kept Milan at the back. Jack Rodoni, we've kept hold of him, which is a big plus. So I think it's as much as we could have done in the transfer market, considering where we are financially, and we're basically debt free at the minute, which is the first time since the late 60s, I think.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you kind of want to keep it that way, but at some point you have to speculate a little to get over the line. You're not, although Sunderland did they? Played a
No,
budget
true.
last
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of an interesting theme of the championship really at the moment is that it does feel, even though the numbers with the Premier League are miles and miles off, it does feel like the financial element is becoming even more of a thing. Especially, I mean, you mentioned parachute payments and the effect that they can have, and I'm sure this season we'll see from various teams. I mean, Sheaf is a good example from
Yeah.
obviously Wrexham, who've spent a good amount on him. Callum Doyle, a player who's played for both clubs, and they signed for I think around 8 million. So it'll be interesting to see what those what effect those finances have this season. But I think something Liam Manning mentioned in his pre-match press conference in terms of Coventry and maybe the positives for them is actually the fact that the squad hasn't changed too much in the last couple of years, and we've probably spoken a little bit about some of the negatives that can come from not spending money. But do you feel, in a sense, like it's also a little bit of a strength of this Coventry group that where you've maybe got clubs like Norwich and a few others who are basically trying to gel these squads together when they've just signed 10 plus players, that Coventry actually have quite a settled group?
I think what we did was we looked at what we needed, and we desperately needed a keeper because Dovin he's out till March because of ACL,
Yeah,
and we were saying you can tell that Frank wasn't happy with the keepers we've got at the club because the lad was playing ahead of them. So we got Rushworth in, which is a great signing. So that's our only loan
yeah,
basically. I think all the fan base were saying we need a keeper, even if you loan one.
yeah,
He then looked at the defence and he got cover for Milan Van Eyck. It's got Kesler Hayden, which is a great signing. He was player of the season for Preston last
yeah,
season. I've actually bought him from Villa, so that's a really good signing. We've got Brow came in from Spain to cover on the left-hand side. So, and then the one we needed was a centre half. And no doubt you probably will say we've signed a magnificent player in Luke Wolfenden.
indeed. Well, yeah, yeah,
So we've got an excellent pro who's
yeah,
played. He's played in the Premier League. He knows what it's like to get out of this league, and he's a decent player. And for me, I think he'll be coming. I would be surprised if he doesn't start on Saturday because sure, if you bring somebody in like that who doesn't want to stay on the bench at Ipswich,
yeah,
in the Championship, he's going to want to play for Coventry, surely. And
yeah,
why leave Ipswich? Because he's got more chance of going back up again with Ipswich, I'd imagine. So I think we brought in players we needed. The surprise was that we let Rodriguez go out on loan, which we're thinking after we've been told we need another wide player. Well, he's a
yeah,
wide player. But
yeah,
then I think what happened at the end of the transfer window was going out the Carabao Cup meant that some players were not going to play any football
yeah,
this season unless there's an injury. So what do? You got players who want to play football, just sat the bench. So you might as well just put them out on loan, give them minutes and see what happens. We haven't got a very good track record of having players back from being on loan and keeping them, though. They tend to just
Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's kind of it's the same at Norwich really. Is you have those high hopes for players and they kind of they go out on loan and
Mm.
even sometimes they look pretty promising, but then they disappear down the lower leagues or they don't get another loan. And yeah, I think that does feel like quite a common theme. And yeah, you mentioned Luke Wilford in there. I think it will be interesting to see if he does start for Coventry on Saturday, and if he does, what reception he gets from the Norwich fans. I can't
I
imagine
can
it's
imagine.
going to be a particularly warm one. But I suppose he might be a little bit reflective of at least from the outside what you might take from Coventry's start to the season, because it's been a lot of goals. I'm sure for you as a Coventry fan, it's been a lot of fun. Does it feel like right now? Well, obviously, you'd assume the defensive side is what you what you'd like to maybe shore up more than the attacking side, which has been really good so far. Has it been as good in that attacking sense in games as it has been just looking at the scorelines?
It's been nuts. It's
Yeah,
absolute. Going forward, we're like, what is going on this season? They just look like they're going to score every time they go forward. Problem is, we push so high up,
yeah,
especially the fullbacks, that the two guys at the back have been exposed, and they do get caught out. But we've not conceded a goal in open play all season. They've all from set pieces.
yeah,
So it'd be interesting what happens Saturday, because you've got the Josh Sargent up front,
yeah.
possibly the most sought after striker in the league. I don't know how you're managing to keep hold of him, because
Normally,
I mean it's kind of like the USA derby, isn't it, with Haji
yeah,
Wright and of course Josh Sargent. And I don't know. I mean, I'd love them. Well, we're all saying the one person we'd want at our club, which could make our strike force the best, is Josh Sargent, purely because of the way he plays up front. And we're
yeah,
thinking him and Haji Wright, that could really work. Yeah, I mean, you're
yeah.
probably thinking the same.
Yeah, well, I think any championship club would be
Yeah.
delighted to have even one of them. So yeah, the two together would be pretty exciting. And yeah, it's interesting you kind of raise him because yeah, I think like you said, really, I don't think Norwich fans have any better of an explanation as to how they've managed to keep him than you would as a Coventry fan. I think it's
How long's his contract?
he's got 3 years left. So well, I suppose that kind of puts them in quite a strong position. But I think there was kind of a
Yeah.
feeling that maybe he would have been open to a move. Norwich, especially earlier in the window, would have been open to a move. But he turned down Wolfsburg earlier in the window as well. And yeah, it's really
They,
interesting that he
they
stays
came
in Norwich. Yeah,
after they came after Milan, our right back.
yeah,
Did Wolfsburg? Yeah, they've
yeah.
been
So
sniffing
clear,
around the
yeah.
championship.
Yeah, clearly they've been scouting in the championship, and I've got to say, I think yeah, those two are two players who they've probably done quite well with in terms of that scouting, but obviously not been able to get them over the line. But in terms of Sargent, that kind of that leads me on to the weekend and Norwich and what you make of Norwich, because obviously it's been quite a strong start, as
Yeah.
you've said. You might have liked a little bit better, but how do you see this game, and how do you see a game against
Oh,
Norwich? Is it the sort of one you'd like to win?
well, yes, but you're a bit bizarre this season, because you've lost
Yeah,
all your home games and won all your away games,
yeah,
even the cup matches.
yeah,
And I was looking at it, I'm thinking, what is going on? Because normally, historic. I mean, I do a Sky Blue history podcast as well, so I've got a head full of facts and figures. But years ago, Norwich coming to the old Highfield Road, it was like a banker. This is one we're going to win. There were certain
yeah,
teams used to rock up: QPR, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Norwich. I can name them. It's
yeah,
3 points, and you must have similar teams who come. I mean, in fact,
yeah,
we used to lose
Coventry,
quite a lot in Norwich. You
yeah,
know, so it's kind of like you win at our. Sorry, we win at home, you win at your place when we play us. But it's a bit different now, because you've not lost to us since. It's going back a few years now.
yeah. Maybe 15 years or something
Yes,
like that. Yeah,
yes, and so I'd be interested. I mean, I would like to see us win. I think we might sneak a win on Saturday, purely because we've improved so much at home to what we were. Uh, I mean, when we played you last season, we were dreadful. Uh,
yeah,
but then the away performance. Now that's a point in fact how we've been playing. When we played you guys at your place, we should have won that game.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
definitely. Yeah,
that first half is the kind of what we're doing at the minute. The way we're breaking forward, For me, that was one of the goals of the season we scored. I mean, your guy topped that in the end with one of
Yeah.
that shots right at the end.
Yeah.
But the way you recovered and the way we sort of fell apart at the end is our nemesis, and that does happen with our defence. This is why I'm hoping if Wolfenden does play, that's going to shore that up a bit more, especially from set pieces. And why I'm hoping we can sneak something on Saturday. No disrespect to Norwich, I'm just thinking we're playing at home and we need to win these kind of games, And if you beat somebody like yourselves, who you expect to be around you, it's like a 6 point already, isn't it?
Yeah.
You create a gap, don't you? And we just want to keep our start going. We've got Leicester next, and then we've got Blues. So, and a bit of Millwall. It's a bit of a tough
Yeah.
4 games we've got now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect. I'd be hoping we'd win, but it'd be really tight. And you've got the guy up front, which is going to cause us problems.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where probably both teams are looking at it going, if they could win this one, given both teams will be hoping for the playoffs. I think this season
Yeah.
it will feel like if anyone wins, it will feel like a statement. But yeah, probably the home element you'd say maybe means Coventry would expect to win this one a little bit more than Norwich, but it'll certainly be interesting to see how it plays out. Just finally, I'm going to push you and ask you for a score prediction, but I'll put my I was going to say my reputation or whatever there is of it on the line by giving my own. So I'm going to go a little bit boring because I think after an international break, even though it has been quite an exciting season for Coventry so far, I think the teams are relatively well matched. So I'm going to say 1-1. What do you think?
No, that's not a bad prediction. I'm still going to go for a 2-1 because I need to be optimistic. But it'd be interesting because if we start slowly, it's almost like how the game's going to go.
Yeah.
And if we come out the blocks, it can be quite exciting. But we will concede, and I'm hoping we've got enough up front to score a couple of goals. So I'll go for a 2-1. Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if either of us are right. And I think, yeah, probably quite a good game in store. Hopefully a high quality game, given both teams will be hopefully towards the top end of the table come the end of the season. Claudio, before I let you go, if there's anything you wanna kind of tell probably Norwich fans mostly watching this, but anyone watching this about what you do at SkyBlueFansTV, you mentioned something to me yesterday, which probably you might want to.
I do with our club historian. I do the Sky Blue History podcast. We've done 45 episodes now, and the latest one has got one of your own in it, Ian Butterworth, who started his career at Coventry, and we spent an hour with him chatting about his career, Coventry, and we chatted a fair bit about Norwich, actually, reminiscing about playing against Bayern Munich and that kind of thing, and how he got his transfers from each club. And yeah, it's interesting. His coaching and scouting, interesting actually. He let us know that there was at least 3 players he tried to nab off us basically when he was at Burnley and Southampton. It's funny because you hear the rumours and he kind of confirmed it, and it was true. So, but so I do that, and obviously Sky Blue Fans TV, where we're on live every Thursday and Sunday, just chatting about Coventry City, and we try and keep it fun, light-hearted. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We leave that to Frank Lampard.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, anyone who's watching this, Norwich fans and Coventry fans can probably enjoy those. So go over there. Thanks very much for joining us, Claudio. Thanks for watching. If you're watching at home, and if you're a Norwich fan looking for an excellent deal, pinken.com/subscribe, the place to go. Of course, we'll have every kick of Saturday's game covered, and as we've discussed so far, it should be an interesting one. See you then.
See you then. Cheers. Thank you.